don't do what I did. Okay, share. Zen is a classist. Well, you know, there are so many people in Nostalgia who are classist. Don't even get there. I think you should do main and 3 wizards. Yeah, right.
And then get by kill, turn them all into soldiers. I like Azarus's idea way more than your idea, Zen.
Do you realize that would not work because you have no healing and some?
But you have absurd burst damage.
That doesn't matter. You run out of MP too fast. Dragon Warrior 3 is not really ideal because you don't get the MP pull that you think you get. Like, if you remember that game, wizards run out of MP very quickly if you're spamming it.
If you're not using it correctly.
No, they just run out because
I do tend to play more rounded out parties, though.
It isn't like I do play rounded parties, so I don't use it that much. But I mean, if you're pounding away at the attack magic, you're out. You're tapped.
Yeah, but when do you get Shield of Strength? you don't get it that fast.
You don't get Bykill until like level what 30.
Bykill's a very, very late spell, yes, but
Yeah,
Bykill also makes the game twice as easy as soon as you get it.
If you want MP cast bounce, then raw magic on yourself. I think that's cheating the system, if it still works. I didn't know that actually worked as. I mean, it would
I didn't know that worked either. Really?
It would work
Bykill
in
is that early?
mechanics unless it's been programmed out like that. That sounds like an exploited.
I didn't think that Bykill happened until like the 30s. Like low 30s was when I thought you got it.
I thought you got Bykill later than that too. Yeah. Good
I mean,
luck
it's been a couple
Orochi
of years.
if you only have wizards. Yeah, that's my thought too.
Orochi will eat through a party of wizards, probably. But I'm still.
Orochi has like, doesn't he have magic defense and he hits like a ton of bricks? So I mean, he has breath attacks that hit AOE, and unlike a lot of games, wizards don't have that high of a magical defense.
Orbo, what's up, man?
So you know, I mean, don't forget, like Dragon Warrior 3, 2, and 1 were early games, so a lot of the balancing things that you think happen, like intelligence, buffs, magic defense, those didn't really come into play as much as you think they did that early.
Melody is sick.
She's not sick, she's poisoned.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That sounds like sick. She's ill.
Class change,
She's
then.
not feeling well.
I'm not well. Now you can actually steal Orochi's sword before you kill him. I had a party of 3 thieves. If you want to check my YouTube channel, I actually recorded it for YouTube. It was the hero and 3 thieves, and that was it.
Pretty sure I've been over here.
And because Thief was introduced in the remake and the Game Boy port, so I played that, and it wasn't the Game Boy port. It was the Super Famicom translated port. So I didn't have the monster medals to deal with. But that actually was very interesting because the Thief class, it was hard to keep them all alive, and I thought that that boss troll would be the end of me, but we pulled through with Cloaks of Evasion. Because boss troll saps your defense to 0 anyway, so the Cloak of Evasion is actually better.
Oh, Borg, it's not going to be in one sitting anymore. Instead, it's going to be a weekend marathon, where I'm going to be playing like 8 to 12 hours per day.
Yeah.
During prime times, so that more people are able to watch it, and it doesn't so negatively affect everybody that I live with, or myself, for that matter.
Dragon Warrior 3 is like a 40-hour game.
Anybody here know of Metal Arms for the GameCube? Yes, I'm familiar with that one, Sadie. Was that the one with the robot?
I'd play the Super Famicom version.
Glitch in the system? Was that it? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Saigan, he won't play the Super Famicom version.
I already played through the Super Famicom version. I'm going to be doing the original 8-bit version because I've already played the Super Famicom and the Game Boy version.
That's the point of the marathons, is to go old school, is to go back and to play these in their original as an emulator gets, in their original iteration.
Well, I could stream directly off of my 8-bit, but the problem is that I don't trust the old hardware as much for something so long running.
Can't you hook your TV up to your computer and input that as an input? I think you can.
Yeah, I can stream straight off of my old systems. That's not the concern, though. The concern is I've never replaced the battery on that cartridge.
Oh, it's dead.
So I don't trust it to still be working, first of all. Yeah. And then second of all, dude, those old Nintendos can flip out about little things, and I don't want to deal with that, you know.
Yeah, true.
8 hours into it sitting.
Very true. So there's a reason for emulators. Yeah, at least you can every once in a while save state, not to cheat, but in case power goes out, you do that because of that. So you do the real save in the game the way you're supposed to, but every once in a while you hit a save state in case you have a technical and that's why it's good. That's why you do that for backup, because there's no way. I'm with you. If you lost that save after 20 hours, I would.
I'd quit. I would quit so hard.
Yeah.
I would stop marathoning. It's
Exactly.
not gonna. So yeah, it's much safer to just go ahead and play on PC on a machine that I know to be reliable.
I grew up with NES and beat the version 10 times. Super Famicom.
See, I only had the first Dragon Warrior on the NES. I grew up with the NES also, but I didn't have. As far as RPGs are concerned, I had Dragon Warrior and I had Final Fantasy, and that was it.
My friend gave me the Final Fantasy 1 game. It wasn't called 1 back then, obviously, because it was defective. But I got a way to make it work. I'm gonna tell you a little story. Cereal boxes used to come with toy prizes.
I'm familiar with them. Yes. Oh,
there's a boss. You can kill him.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go back up the
and
stairs.
one of the toy surprises and one of the Kellogg's, they were doing Chippendale's Chippendale's Rescue Rangers promo at the time.
Chippendale
And
Rescue Rangers.
they were stamps.
Chippendale.
They were little stamps, little triangular stamps. You pull them apart, and they were stamps. Okay, so I'll tell my story after he's done singing.
Chippendale. Sorry.
Because like Saigan is going
Sorry.
to eat shit over the song. I could sing it too.
That show's fantastic. I used to know the entire thing.
I probably could sing it. Anyway, so the promo in Kellogg was to give you stamps of Chippendale's Rescue Rangers one time, and they were triangular stamps of Monterey Jack, Gadget, Chip, Dale, and Buzz, whatever his. I think it was his name, Buzz.
Was that his name? It was
no,
the
his
Fly.
name was His name was he had a name. His name was someone help me out.
It wasn't
his little
Buzz.
fly. His fly sidekick had a name. Forget it.
I don't remember.
Anyway,
I don't
the stamp
remember.
that we got, the first stamp was Dale, okay? And it was a little triangular stamp about an inch thick. Now, I put the Final Fantasy game in the NES deck and pushed it down, it wouldn't work, right? But I made it work by doing this. If you pushed down on the cartridge, which would eject it, but you held it in the down position, the cartridge would work. But you couldn't play it like that because you had to have one hand down there. But the tray that held the cartridge when you pushed it down had like a little metal guide in the middle of that if you looked into the mechanics of the tray that pushed down in the NES deck. So when you pushed down to release the game, I could squish the Dale stamp between the game and the top of the frame. So it kept the game wedged in that tight down position.
You know,
and the game played fine.
You could have just also taken another cartridge and stick it in the top above the other cartridge to keep it locked down.
Actually,
we had to do that also.
I don't think the cartridge might have been thick enough, but then again, it could have been. I just never thought of that. I had a Dale stamp. And I actually needed that Dale stamp because it wouldn't work on the left, it wouldn't work on the right, it worked somewhere in the middle. You see what I'm saying? Like, there was a certain spot it worked in. KO Dance is cheap as shit. It's bullshit. So, yeah,
That's some Roan bullshit.
That's some Roan bullshit.
I hate random kill effects.
So I played I could not remove Final Fantasy from my deck, so when I put it in there, I had to play it till I was done. I just played it till it was done. So I got all the way through, and of course, everyone knows the tragedy when you first play Final Fantasy, how the Sky Palace fucks you.
Dude, the Sky Palace.
You know how it fucks you. There's two ways it fucks you. If you encounter Warmech,
yeah, let's talk about Warmech for a second.
If you encounter him, you're fucked. For one thing, he's only in one area of Sky Palace, that little bridge.
He's in that last bridge right before you fight Tiamat. Yeah.
Yep. That's all he is. And if you find him, you're either lucky or the unluckiest son of a bitch ever. Depends on if you can kill him. Because he gives you a pretty decent pull. But it's just not the point. You can't kill him. You can, but
you can, but at that point in the game, you're not really going to be prepared for it.
No, you have to go back.
He's harder than the final boss of the game, but he shows up well before that point.
Yeah. So, if Warmech's the one way it bullshits you. The second way it bullshits you is there's like a cloth armor in one of the chests. And I hate to tell you how much like inventory space you have for armor and weapons is very low. And you might think there's something good in that chest and ditch a piece of armor that you want, only to find cloth armor that you get at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm. No, Borg. Phantasy Star 1 did not come with dungeon maps. I do believe it came with world maps, though, overworld maps. And I can also say that for the Saturn version on the Phantasy Star collection that Japan got, it only came with overworld maps. Phantasy Star 2, though, did come with maps.
Borg said he got the maps from Nintendo Power for Dragon Warrior 2, and it made his opinion positive for that game. Well, yeah, because it gave you the location of all the runes for one.
Yeah, and it helped you get through. What's up, Orbo? And it helped you get through.
When's the blindfold BQ runs?
BQ?
BQ, yes. Bravo, Quebec. I have no idea.
BQ.
I'm not even going to try to pretend I know what you did. I think it's a typo, so just type it. I'm just being a dick.
I don't. I'm trying to figure out what he might mean, but I have no idea what it is.
Attack this minion for me because it's annoying me. You're just sitting there.
Maybe I'm just trying to annoy you. Maybe that's it.
I know. That's what you do in life, and I guess I've accepted that. I can't say this. I can't.
Do not.
Saigan's doing this like just because.
Fuck.
But okay, some of those maps were wrong though. I hated. Could you just type out Fantasy Star? Is it that hard? I hate a Fantasy Star for that.
We know what he's saying. He's saving time.
I don't care. Use your fingers. Sucks. SUX.
You're grouchy today. Why are you grouchy today?
The XUX was in RoboCop. The
Zen.
XUX 9000.
Zen.
Remember the XUX?
Zen.
Sucks 9000.
Zen.
What?
Why are you so grumpy today?
Because I'm dry. I don't have any.
Is that it? You're not friendly unless you're on the sauce.
Yeah. Sorry. So, you were about to say my maps helped with Roan, I assume. Cave to the cave, yes, because you found the Thunder Sword that way. If you knew how to get the Thunder Sword, you could beeline it and grab it, and then get the little treasures route. Otherwise, you're stuck in that area forever trying to get all the chests, and if you're a perfectionist and completionist like we were, you're in that cave forever, and it annoys the
Dude, it felt like going into the cave to Roan, it was an expedition each time to just get to the next chest.
Yeah,
and then escape.
Yep. You had to escape because you just couldn't survive. And you mapped it out by hand. You drew where all the little pit holes were by hand. You figured out where the loops and the infinite loops were, you know.
See, now fortunately, I never did that with Roan because I didn't play Dragon Warrior 2 as a kid. I did do it with Phantasy Star 1, though. I still have my hand-drawn maps for Phantasy Star 1, and that was all first-person dungeons. 4
green dragons that surprise you. If they get the jump on you and they do breath, I could.
Dude, that happened to me on my marathon, I think. It was...
Final... Oh, you found the 4th one. Great.
Yep, we're good. There's just one in each corner.
Yeah.
I got lost last time I was in here because I wasn't paying attention.
Here's something that can screw you over in Final Fantasy, the original. Gas dragons.
Dude, the gas dragons?
Yeah.
I am still terrified of those to this day, and thanks to that fear, they no longer cause a problem for me, because I always go in, like, way over-prepared to deal with gas dragons.
The one thing about it is, I had a black belt, and he was like 10 hits and would one-shot them.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Man, it's funny. Have you looked on the forums for, like, Final Fantasy 1 stuff? People did not like the black belt. People still kind of don't like the black belt.
I loved him. He was my favorite class, and everyone hated him.
He was amazing. It's just he doesn't get good until the second half of the game. Before then, yeah, you're totally carrying his ass.
Upgrade him to a ninja, yeah, and then he's great.
Yeah, but before that, before he starts, hitting, like, more than 10 times, yeah, he does shit damage. He's a waste of space.
Equip the nunchucks. But at level 10...
He's still not that good, though, even with the nunchucks.
No, without them. You take them off at level 10. I knew someone who didn't know that.
He's just...
Really?
He's a bad character until the second half of the game.
If you played the game with one fighter, you need a meat shield. 2 black belts and a white mage, you could probably get by.
No, you can... dude, there are people who have soloed the game with just, like, a white mage.
I know, that's a ridiculous waste of time, but they soloed the game with the white mage on the remakes. They did not do it on the original. Mm-hmm. That's saying something because the remakes are easier.
That's right. The black belt turned into the master. The thief turned into the ninja.
Okay, thank you. I get those.
Confused. And could wield the Masamune.
You're right, but so could the white mage.
Could the white mage use the Masamune?
Well, no, the black mage could. The Masamune was equipable by a lot of classes.
Was it the Masamune that was equipable? One of them was equipable by everybody. I think I just lost some party members. One of them could be equipped by everybody. I don't remember if that was... Oh, we're all live.
I think that was the Masamune. I think that was the Masamune.
Was that the Masamune?
I want to say it was.
That's what Azarus is saying also. Was it Excalibur then that was only usable by the knight?
Fighter. Or I'm sorry, upgraded. Paladin.
Knight. The fighter turned into the knight.
That's right. He became Paladin in the remakes. Thank you.
Yeah, they changed it into Paladin later on.
Yeah, of course, because Paladin became a staple of Final Fantasy.
Yes.
That's right. So yeah, because of Final Fantasy IV, Dark Knight, Paladin. There was a great Game Genie trick.
And the ninja. That's what I was thinking of. Okay, yeah, Excalibur could be used by the knight and the ninja.
By the thief. The thief took hits like a little schoolgirl. The only reason you wanted him was because he could like escape almost.
He was really good at running away.
Yeah, that was what it was for. I never picked the thief because he sucked. I mean, he really did suck.
Actually, my first playthrough of the game was what was it? It was
a balanced party mode.
No, it was a fighter, it was a thief, it was a black belt, and it was a white mage.
As long as you have a white mage, you're good. If you have a red mage instead of a white mage, you're kind of gimped because he doesn't learn level 8 magic.
Dude, red mage was a beast.
You could play the game with 4 red mages, but you'd never get level 8 magic.
You could play the game with 1 red mage.
Not really.
Red mage is probably the best class in that game. Because he can use most of the stuff that fighters and knights can use, and in addition to that, he's got magic.
He didn't get all of the gear.
Okay, he didn't get all of the gear.
He didn't get level 8 magic.
Okay, he got like...
He got level 7 magic.
Could he get the best, 10 out of 10 star gear? No. But he got pretty much the second best of everything across the board. Could Red Mage use Temper? I don't remember.
There were a few...
Wizard might have been able to use Temper?
A Red Wizard, yes. The Red Mage was barred from certain spells until he became a Wizard. Then he could use every spell from level 1 to level 7. Yeah, but there were a few spells that the Red Mage couldn't use until he became a Red Wizard. I think Harm might have been one of them, don't quote me on that. Basically, the White Mage's ability to kill undead.
Red Mage could use... Wait, no.
Could he use Harm? Spells he could not grab.
I can't remember if he could use Harm or not.
I don't remember. There was a few that he couldn't grab until you upgrade him.
Yeah, Temper was broken as hell. Temper and...
One spell didn't work. One spell you would use Ruse. Ruse didn't work. It's supposed to make it easy to dodge. It did not improve your dodge chance. It bugged.
Ruse, I know Ruse... I didn't use Ruse much in the original, but I know Ruse works now in the remakes.
It didn't work in the original. The original had so many spells that didn't work.
It also had a lot of items that were supposed to have special abilities that didn't work.
Oh yeah, like I'm not saying the Ice Sword was like this, but like if you use the Ice Sword, it would cast a spell.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Yeah, there were a few like...
Yeah, there were a lot of items that were supposed to have spells on them, and they didn't work.
The Light Axe had Harm too. There was a spell that you never had to buy the 3rd version of because it worked as the 3rd version in combat. I try to remember what it was. I want to say it was either Harm 2 or Cure 2. Like one of these spells worked as the 3rd version of it, but only... I think it was Cure 2 worked as Cure 3 in battle, and then worked as Cure 2 out of battle. There was something like that. Don't quote me on that spell exactly. There were so many spell bugs in that game. Nowadays, you have to have a guide.
You don't need a guide. I did it without a guide then, I can do it again.
But I didn't know at the time I was buying stupid spells. Spells that didn't work. I didn't know. Probably Harm 2, yeah, you might be right.
It sounds like it was probably Harm 2.
There was a lot of buggy spells. Just like in the original for PC, Master of Magic, there were spells that worked but in reverse. Yeah. There was a lot of bugs in that game. They never patched, obviously, because old game. And then there were an item that would heal you. It would cast Cure 2 infinitely if you used it, and that was good to pawn off on somebody, like the Thief, if you had the Thief in your party, because that would be this entire function, the entire game. There
was also a glove that cast Lightning too, which was just hilarious in the water dungeon.
Yeah,
because you could spam it for days.
I didn't like the charging. You only had a certain number of casts. That really gimped you a lot.
There was no...
there was the cabin bug. The cabin bug. You'd use a cabin, and it would heal all of your hit points, ask you to save. You would save in the field. Then it would restore your magic points. So if you thought that using the cabin could let you turn off the game, you could. But when you turn the game back on, you wouldn't have your magic restored. So you'd have to use a cabin, then a tent.
Uh-oh.
There's a boss too.
Uh-oh.
Prepared?
Uh-oh. Yeah, I got everybody's stuff up above 90%, I want to say.
Okay. I'm just saying that there were so many bugs. If you don't... I mean, we didn't know them back then.
There weren't...
We lived with them.
Are you talking about spells per day? Because spells per day was a thing then, but items didn't have...
Cast per instay. I hated it.
Items didn't have a limited number of casts.
No, they didn't. It was infinite.
Yeah, which was the main reason to go for them. You are far too meddlesome. Was losing your mother not enough? Are you willing to lose even more? You already took my mother away from me, dude. It's on. You think I was just going to leave that alone?
Yeah, it's personal. It's personal.
My defeat at Baradin will go avenged. It is here that you will meet your grave.
Wahaha.
Your defeat will not be enough to resurrect our Lord. There is much more work to be done. You no longer sound like you're mocking me.
He looks like that little smiley face in Zelda 2.
I was going to say he looks like one of the stupid guys that bounces around in
That's
the Zelda
what I'm talking
games.
about. They have a name. I can't remember it.
What's up, Truth? Feel anguish, feel despair. We will watch with joy as you fall to the hands of Death Templar.
You missed some conversations about Final Fantasy 1, and basically that's it. That would have been the problem,
Death
Zen.
Templar,
Except
reveal
no
yourself.
situation.
Snatch away their lives like you did to the villagers of Quevi.
Cabin Bug was an issue because you used it in the field, and I would use it like before the Earth Cave and things like that, and then you'd realize, well, crap, you know.